Welcome back to the Sister Diary. I am not with my sister today. I'm here with my brother, changing things up.
Hi, sisters.
It's Maddie, if you guys couldn't already tell. And I'm here with our brother, John, today. And we actually recorded this episode probably like 6 months ago. Probably like in January or February. I don't really remember. But basically, can you just explain what happened to the episode when we were exporting it?
Okay, so basically, we had just finished the episode. It was really good. I enjoyed that one. And I was about to save the logic session, like what we recorded into. And literally probably a tenth of a second before I did like Command S, like I was going to press the S, and then Madison pressed the delete button. So basically, she deleted it, and then right after I saved it, and then I couldn't get the audio back.
It was very bad timing, like just the worst.
Yeah.
So we're back. I guess actually that was a long time ago because that was before we had this equipment.
Oh, yeah, true.
So it's been a while. I think it's good.
That was way before. That was last, school year.
Yeah. I think it's good because our answers will have changed. I mean, I guess you're interviewing me.
Yeah.
So my answers will have changed. And yeah, so today we're doing 73 questions. This is a Vogue style video. They do these on the Vogue YouTube channel all the time. And I think it's just a good way to get to know the person. So getting to know me today, we did this with John as well. I asked him 73 questions. If you guys want to go check out that episode, I can link it below. But yeah, let's just get into it. I feel like this is going to be kind of a long one.
Okay, so
I'm scared.
For our first question, we have a question from Abs Joy.
Abby Joy.
One of Maddie's besties.
She literally gets a shout out in every episode for some reason.
Yeah, shout out Abs Joy. She says, describe your perfect day.
Oh my gosh. She asked me this because on Friday she had the day off work, and I was like, let's do our perfect day. And we always talk about like what our perfect day would be. For me, I feel like my perfect day would definitely be pre-COVID, pre-pandemic, because now it's kind of hard to do anything. So my perfect day would be probably in September. I really like September because it's not too hot.
So September 2019.
So yeah, I guess we can say that. I would go to a workout class in the morning. Shocking. Maybe like Legree Pilates or Barry's Boot Camp. We would get coffee. We would get like a vegan lunch somewhere. Go for a walk, hang out with her dog. I mean, her dog wasn't born last September, but like this year, that would be ideal. And what else? Like maybe go to a patio at night or like in the late afternoon with my friends and then go out, or I don't know. That's a hard question.
Is that like what you talk about when you're like mid-20s, like getting old? It's like, what would your perfect day be?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have another question here. This one's from Snowflake, and they said, are you the oldest sibling? If so, what is it like? I'm gonna add a little bit in here. That's my question, kind of. How do you think your life would be different if you weren't the oldest sibling, if you were Darian or me or Lauren?
I am the oldest sibling. I do like it. I mean, I didn't like it when I was in high school because I was the one going through everything for the first time. So I feel like I had the strictest parenting, and my younger siblings get away with a lot that I didn't get away with when I was their age. Like there's just a lot less rules now. My parents have kind of like gotten tired of being super strict, I think.
Remember when I came home an hour and a half late? Oh,
yeah. I would have been grounded for like 6 months if I like missed my curfew. So that was one thing I really didn't like. But I don't know. I like being the oldest because I like to make the rules. And I feel like in my family, like, for example, Lauren and I were talking about how I got the best room in the house, even though I didn't live here full time at the time. So I guess that's a good thing. And like my parents do, I feel like, respect my opinion on things, and like they ask for my input on things because I'm the oldest and like the closest to their age. So I don't know. I like to be included in like that type of thing rather than being like the youngest. If I was your age now, like you're still so young. So I don't know. That's a hard question. I don't think my life would be that different though if I wasn't me. I wasn't the oldest.
Do you think you'd have a different personality, maybe perspective?
Maybe a little bit. I don't know.
Like, what differences do you see in like the nurture of like mine and your personalities? Like the fundamental differences, maybe from being born in a different year. Like, do you think I'm less responsible, maybe because I didn't have to raise like Lauren and me?
Yeah, I think Darian and I had a lot of responsibility, especially with you, because mom had Lauren when she was a little baby. We had to kind of watch you guys. So you grew up with like extra parents, and we grew up with the responsibility to be a caretaker kind of. And I think I have a personality that's more of a caretaker than Darian. So that's definitely something that I've stepped into. And all my friends say that. They're like, you're such a mom. Like, you always have to clean the house and like drive your siblings around, which is true. So yeah, I think I probably would be a little bit less responsible in that way. And I think you guys are less like independent with like stuff around the house and cooking and stuff than I was when I was your age.
Yeah. It's not really expected of me. So I don't really do it. It's not really ever been part of my, like my thoughts in the day. I'm not like, oh, I wonder if there's dishes right now. But you would definitely think that.
Yeah, for sure. That's just the way we grew up though.
Yeah. What would you say is your biggest workout motivation? I know you have been hitting the gym for the last like 10 years.
I would say I honestly don't have motivation, really. I think you get to a point where it's just your routine. You don't have a motivation that happens every single day. I guess it's become part of my routine because I've done it for so long that now it's easier for me to do it than to not do it.
There's like an hour missing in your day.
It's like second nature. And then I also just feel a lot better and like more accomplished if I stick to that habit. And I think that's the same with most habits, to be honest.
Yeah. If you were a teen nowadays, what do you think you would do differently, or how would you be different than when you were a teenager?
That's a good question. I mean, I probably would be on TikTok. You know, like,
you think you'd be TikTok famous?
I think it would be a lot different growing up with social media, like from such a young age, because I only got Instagram when I was in grade 10. So there was a large portion of my life where we had no social media. I mean, I don't know if I'm that much different than you. Don't turn off on and off your mic, because I can hear it, and just hold it instead of moving it around. Yeah, I don't know if I'm that much different than you guys because I didn't grow up with social media, but another thing Lauren and I were talking about last week is I think social media and the people that have had it and have like are very embedded in social media now have different attitudes than people who are not, and they're more like tolerant and aware of cancel culture and stuff. Like I feel like I'm more a part of like Gen Z because of you guys, but my friends who don't have younger siblings are kind of detached from that, and they might have attitudes that are closer to our parents than to me or to you. I mean,
social media is making people more progressive.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes I hear stuff my friends say, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah.
But it's because they don't participate in social media in the same way where they have to like censor, which is not necessarily always a good thing, but like there's a general consensus on social media that you have to fit in with.
Yeah. Well, I feel like that consensus isn't necessarily negative. Sometimes it is, for sure. There's like, oh, you have to always be like done up. You know, there's like the notion that everybody always looks as they do on their TikTok that they make once a day after getting ready for an hour. But I do like the progressiveness that social media has brought to kind of the masses and people that maybe wouldn't have had that exposure. Like our parents are pretty left leaning. We've been exposed to all sorts of ideas.
For sure.
But you know, a lot of people I see, like you see Kellyanne Conway's kid on TikTok.
Yeah.
So you know, maybe if it wasn't for that, then she wouldn't have had that exposure in the first place. I don't know her, but just in general, people that are in sheltered environments.
For sure. Yeah, I think we kind of had a unique life because like you said, we were exposed to a lot of different perspectives and educated in a way that was progressive, I would say, and like grew up in a place that was progressive. But I definitely think there's always a line where it's like you need to be able to form your own opinion separate from social media and like be able to speak what you actually feel. Yeah. But yeah, it has to be like an educated opinion. You can't just like say what you think without listening to anything else, or like if it's a problematic opinion, you shouldn't just be able to say that, you know?
Right. Yeah, if it's problematic and derogatory. Opinions are healthy. Right. It's good for people to have debates because otherwise there's no alternate ideas.
Right.
But if those are harmful, then what I like about social media is you will get shut down very quickly.
I mean, all I was saying is I feel like social media should be a little bit of a forum where everyone can speak. And sometimes I feel like people are being silenced when they're just saying their opinion. Like even with politics, like I don't want to talk about politics right now, but I think it's a little bit crazy that you can't share your political opinion if it's not the same as the masses. You know what I mean? Like it's politics. Everyone has an opinion.
Right. Yeah.
But I understand in this circumstance, it's like not a normal political situation.
Yeah. People love to be like the first person to be like, wait a second, that's wrong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the why are we not talking about this trend?
What's that?
Have you seen that? Like people, so a lot of times people will call people out on like TikTok, for example. It'll be like a duet of somebody like talking or something. They have a flag on their wall or something.
Yeah.
And it'll be like this, like in the camera, will be like, why are we not talking about this? But sometimes people just completely miss. Oh. And I think it's the funniest thing ever because all the comments are like, you thought we were going to agree with you.
TikTok is just different. Like
it's such a weird place.
It's a weird place.
Okay. New question. Okay. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I feel like we're not going to get to 73, but that's okay.
Yeah, we're definitely not getting to 73. Okay, Mona says, this is a real deep one. What's something that you regret in your life? I'm pretty sure I asked you this question beforehand, and I think I already know what the answer is. Like, what's your deepest regret? I don't know if you want to share that. I don't know.
What did I tell you?
I think you just said that you don't really regret anything that you've done. Like, you feel like every action, you haven't, as a person, you haven't really changed your morals, at least from my perspective, that much since you were like a teenager. So I feel like everything that you've done is kind of still relevant and like agrees with your ethics, your moral code.
Yeah, I feel like even when I was a teenager, I mean, I did things when I was a teenager that were influenced by my social group where now I wouldn't do that because I just don't care. But I think when you're a teenager, you're still trying to figure those things out. But, well, I don't even remember telling you that. But that is true about my, like, not having regrets because I think every point in your life has brought you to where you are. So I also haven't really had anything happen to me that's, like, so devastating.
Right.
That's so devastating or anything like that. So it's kind of hard for me to say. I don't have any major regrets. And I feel like an accomplished life is one where you are finished your life and you don't have any major regrets.
Right. If you're happy with the person that you are right now, then how can you really regret anything? Mm-hmm. Because it either taught you something if you do have a big defining moment or a failure, or you've had it easy up until this point and you're, inevitably going to go through something.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Have you, I know that you haven't, but have you ever really experienced anxiety or depression?
No, I wouldn't say in a clinical sense. I think everyone deals with stress. And I had a few panic attacks in my life, like when I was in high school and stuff.
I remember that, yeah.
Just because I was overly stressed by school. But I think stress is good for us in a tolerable amount. And I really want my stress tolerance to be high. That's like something that I think would suit me well. It would be good for me in the future because I want to be constantly pushed to do more and like not even be better, but be able to handle things.
Yeah, you definitely handle things. Like I can tell when you're stressed because like your door is closed, maybe a little bit open. I'll stick my head in and go, Madeline, and then you'll be like, not the day. Just get out, please. And you'll be like,
well, I'm working,
typing furiously. So yeah, you deal with that pretty well. I know a lot of people struggle with like panic attacks and things of this sort, either from school or other reasons. How did you kind of deal with that?
Honestly, I don't really think I dealt with it. I think it just happens. I don't know. For everyone, it's different too. Like for me, it was like school related. So it was like when I felt out of control. So I guess I'm not sure how you like deal with it. I don't think you can really like get over it. I think it just is like more about managing stress.
Right. I mean, like, did you afterwards, you like, okay, this is getting too much. I have to make a change. Would you spread your homework out so you weren't going into like, the early hours of the night, or would you take more diligent notes in class? Did you do anything consciously?
I had a panic attack about a test mark, so it wasn't really about like my workload.
Oh.
But yeah, I didn't do anything, to be honest. I just was like, okay, well, I feel like it's mostly about like accepting what you can't control. And that's something I'm trying to do now, like with the pandemic and stuff. I feel like a lot of people struggle with that now because there's a real lack of control in general. And just like being okay with things that are happening that are out of your control, I think is the key.
Right. Okay. Is there a piece of advice that you would want to give to your younger self if she was in the room here? And as a part two, if you could go back to being 15 years old today, would you do it?
Probably not. I mean, what I would probably do it if I had the opportunities now that I have now then. Like if my life when I was 15 is very different than your life when you're 15 or Lauren's life, because I was very normal. So like I was on a totally traditional path. So
I hadn't even started YouTube yet.
Yeah. You were like 7 or something.
Yeah.
So no, I wouldn't go back to that time in my life. But if I was 15 in your shoes, or I could be 15 in Lauren's shoes, then yes, I would. And what was your other question? Oh, advice?
A piece of advice, yeah.
I would just say, is this for myself or just in general for people?
Well, yeah, if you could give a piece of advice to your same 15-year-old younger self, whether it's starting on Artlist earlier or otherwise.
I would say to don't worry about doing something that's not normal. I think I grew up in a very traditional community and environment where it was like school, university, and if you do anything that's abnormal, like you're weird. And I wanted to fit in and be popular in school. Like those are the important things when you're a normal teenager. So I guess I would say like stop caring what people think. And that's a good advice for anyone, and even me now, I think.
Would you let me have a girlfriend?
Sure. I
don't think it's really your decision.
Go ahead.
I know this is going to be a hard question for you, especially because it's very far in the future and you're doing a lot of things right now. But where do you see yourself in 10 years? Even if it's just a general sense, if it's your mindset, if it's your achievement. Are you married?
10 years. Lauren and I actually answered a question like this on our last episode, so I kind of have an idea. I will be 34, so yeah, I hope I'm married. I want to have probably at least 1 kid, maybe 2.
Really?
Because I don't want to be an older mom. I feel like we had a young mom, especially me because I'm the oldest. And I like the relationship that we have with our parents because they were young when they had us. So probably at least 1 kid. I mean, I could have 1 kid like in my mid to late 30s, I guess. Depends how many kids I want to have. I don't really know. But probably not living in Toronto. I feel like I see us as a family moving to the US probably. But I hope my company is very successful. I hope we have more opportunities that come from all the things that we're doing now. It's hard to kind of predict, I think, in a work sense where we're going to be just because things really come up so quickly and change so fast. So I don't know, but I don't think we'll be like in this house. Well, obviously I won't be in this house, but like I don't think our family will be like rooted in Toronto really in the same way.
Yeah, I don't really think we'll ever be rooted like we were. Like flashback, what has it been, like 5 years ago? When we first moved to LA, you went to Western. Like that was our home. Like Oakville was the only time we would leave is to go on vacation or to go to the cottage. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Dad talks about like, maybe like when I get a bit older, like I'm gonna retire, we'll get a condo, we'll get a house in LA, and I'll kind of just go back and forth. I'll see what happens. I'll go to the cottage, and he'll just be all over. He also talks about getting a boat. Is that like something that you see yourself doing? Do you want to be rooted in one place when you're older?
No, I don't really think I care that much about being rooted in one place. I think I enjoy traveling a lot, whereas like you and Darian maybe don't enjoy it as much. Like you like to have more of a schedule, and I do too, but I don't really have an attachment to any place really. Like I don't care if I left Toronto and never came back, which maybe is a bit weird, like an attachment really issue weird. I mean, like I love my friends here, but I wouldn't care about like starting a new life somewhere, you know?
Right. Yeah. If I'm away from Toronto for more than a month, I start getting like upset. Like I don't like it. Like I'm waiting to go back home. Like I'm itching.
I don't really feel like that.
Like I was having so much fun on tour, so much fun. And then the last show I was like, okay, like, this has been really fun, but like I can't wait to go home. And I just feel like that's how I recharge. Like if I had maybe a bigger tour bus or my own like space, I feel like maybe it would have been better, but it's all about where you recharge. What's that like for you? What's your personality type again?
Enneagram, or what's the Myers-Briggs?
Yeah, Myers-Briggs.
Oh, what is it? It's the one.
Oh, you're what I used to be, INTJ.
INTJ.
Architect.
Yes, I'm an architect, type 3 Enneagram.
Yeah.
I definitely also recharge at home, but for me, tour was just weird because it was so out of my routine. But if I was in a nice place anywhere in the world, I would be happy. It doesn't matter. I don't feel like I need to be in Toronto, but I do like to have my own space. Like if I had a beautiful house in California, I'd be so happy. I could live in Europe and be happy.
That is true. You kind of do take on the lifestyle of wherever you are. Like I remember when you were in LA, you lived there for like 3-4 months last year.
Yeah.
You just dove right into the culture. You made some friends. You started going to workout classes. You had a routine. Stopped by Trader Joe's.
Totally.
I feel like I can't adapt that well. I'm not good at that. I can only do it temporarily.
Yeah. I mean, I have like high standards, I feel like, of places because we have a very nice life in Toronto. So like my friends, for example, went backpacking, and I'm like, that would make me very uncomfortable and I would not enjoy it. So as long as I'm in a nice house or like have my own space, honestly, I think it's mostly about like having somewhere to go home to rather than like living out of your backpack.
Right.
And the same with tour. Like I felt very unsettled the entire time. I like to be a little bit settled, be able to wake up and feel good, and then I'm happy. It doesn't matter where I am.
That's weird. We have the same personality type, but we are completely opposite in that way.
I don't know why. That's interesting.
Are you a religious / spiritual person?
No, I'm not a religious or spiritual person.
No? Do you have any advice that sticks out in your mind that has been given to you from other people? Teacher, friend, dad, mom? Anything that you would like to pass on to the youth?
Oh, there's so many things. I don't know if it's like particular advice from people.
Yeah. Not like a saying, just like a general
I would
feeling.
say, like give me a category. I don't know. I feel like we have a lot of conversations with our parents about things, and that's where I get most of my thoughts. Most of my thoughts are influenced by those things. Like my thoughts about like general things. What's your category?
Let's do education. Higher education specifically.
I would say.
I remember I did a debate last year in my business class, and it was about whether or not higher education, or at least undergrad, was worth it for the modern person.
I would say absolutely it is, because education is something that you can't have taken away from you. And that's something that our dad definitely says. Once you have that degree, they can't take it away from you. That's something you'll always have. So I think it's very personal, a personal decision, and a personal, there's just a difference between people, whether or not it would benefit you. depending on what opportunities that you have. So maybe for you, I would say no, because you'll sacrifice your career if you spend 4 years in school and get a degree that you probably don't need right now. And it's something that's always there. So I wouldn't feel pressure to go if I had something going on, because it's going to be there even if you're 25, you know? But I would say in general, if you're just a normal person like I was, who didn't really have a work opportunity available to me, I'm happy that I did go to school, because I learned a lot during that time and matured a lot. And it also was one of the first times in my life where I was exposed to people that were different than me in terms of where they grew up, their families. We grew up in Oakville, if anyone's from Toronto area, and everyone that I went to school with was very similar to me in terms of their values, what their parents were like, what their parents did for work. So it was just good, I think, to be exposed to people and like learn from that people had a really different upbringing than I did. And also just the classes that I took were really interesting, and I was happy to learn about all these topics on a very general level, which was cool.
I remember you saying last year when we were talking about this, even if your degree, because that was my big argument in my debate, that the degree is not worth it anymore. The degree itself, the piece of paper,
right,
that you apply with for a job is not worth it if you can A, start your own business, or B, develop a relationship with somebody in that industry that can then catapult you or help you get a position. But you said that what made it worthwhile for you was the new perspective and just the general knowledge that you gain from those 4 years of that just weird. Colleges or university is so weird if you think about it. It's just like people in like their prime, just like locked in like rooms, and you just kind of like hash it out and figure it out, and then like their peak development.
Yeah, I don't know. I would probably disagree with it, that the degree. I'm gonna say that again. I don't know. I would probably disagree with your idea that the degree isn't worth it anymore, because you need a degree to get in the door for an interview for most jobs. Like, that's the prerequisite. They won't even consider you. And the thing about starting a business that I've learned in the past year and a half is it's very expensive. So most 18-year-olds can't start a business because they don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest. And it's like, if you're young and have no experience, where do you get that money from? So I think it's an oversimplification to say if you can start a business or even have relationships, that you don't have to go to university. Because most people, when they're 18 and they finish grade 12, do not have either of those things. They don't have money to start a business. They don't have relationships, and they're probably not qualified for the job because they're immature.
Right.
You know?
Good point. My argument in this debate was that there are now so many tools useful to that 18-year-old that really wants it. So the money that this isn't as relevant in Ontario because of OSAP and just the way that our subsidized education works. But that person in the U.S. that would spend $40,000 per like semester, or like, you know what I mean, could then go and use that money to start their business or get in the room with people and make connections through social media and build up a portfolio outside of school. And by the time those people are finished university, that guy's already 4 years ahead. He already has 4 years of experience. So are you going to take somebody with 4 years of experience, or are you going to end a following or a portfolio or products sold or whatever else before you take that university student that is just fresh out, has no actual real life working experience?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because I agree with that, especially in the U.S. when university is so expensive.
Right.
I think maybe it's not for everyone, but I think for most people, unless you are extremely lucky, you don't have relationships that can help you when you're 18. Like, that's just not the reality for most people. And you have to be an exceptional person to be able to start a business at 18 that's going to be successful.
Right.
And I think 99% of businesses that you start that are like an idea that you had when you're 18. Actually, I'm not going to say 99% because I don't know. But like the vast majority of businesses will not be successful that you start
just in general
at any age, but especially when you're young, because you don't have the resources, the education, whatever it is. So it's just hard. I think education is just something that's always good to have in your back pocket as a fallback, but it's definitely not the key to success in life.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely does not hurt.
It doesn't hurt.
Especially because when you get out of university, you're like, what, 21, 22?
22,
you're still
yeah.
a young lad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is an interesting question. Kind of superficial, but you can make it more. How are you? Genuinely, in this moment, how are you? What's your like, are you excited? Are you stressed? Are you nervous? Are you hopeful for the future? How are you with Artlist inevitably launching soon?
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah, pandemic inevitably over soon. Like, what are you looking forward to?
That's, I feel like, a very multi-dimensional, multifaceted question.
Yeah.
Where I could answer it in a lot of ways. But I think I'm good. Wait, don't move your mic around. I would say I'm excited for the future for sure. I think there was a period of time there where I was feeling a little bit stuck. And I think a lot of people were feeling like that in the last few months, where it's just like life is not progressing and we kind of are wasting time. And I hate that feeling of wasting time. Like when I want to start something, I want to do it right now and get it over with. So I was very frustrated, especially with the clothing company, because it's just been months and months of one thing after the next. And like, I just want to get it done. Like I said to Darian, I'm like, I'm not socializing with anyone until it's on sale. Like I'm just tired of having all this work that has to be done. Not even really like by me, but it's just like relying on other people for work. And I'm just frustrated with that for sure. So I would say frustrated, a little bit stuck, but also we have some exciting opportunities that have come to us recently. And I'm really excited about that and excited to share that with everyone. And I feel like things are going to be better in the future than they are now, which is a good place to be. I feel hopeful and just excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm excited to move out.
I feel like you severely underestimated the amount of work that was going to have to go into Artlist, or at least I did.
I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but I didn't know that I was doing all of the small details myself, I guess. Like the experience that I had making clothes in LA, I am doing everything, like buying zippers and buttons and waistband elastics and like literally doing everything, buying the labels, like having the labels for the sewn in on the back and like the hang tags, having it all produced. So I'm like, I didn't know I was going to do that, but I learned a lot. So it was worth it, but I'm just like sick and tired of waiting.
Right. You just want to get it on sale.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm impatient, but I think it's going to be good. I feel like it was a lot of work and time and energy and money invested. So I'm excited to see what happens like when the product is on sale, and I hope everyone likes it.
You don't strike me as a very impatient person. Like I feel like you would let a good thing come to you if it took a while. I mean like you wouldn't just let it come to you, just hope it came to you. You would work for it, but if it paid off a year down the road, you wouldn't necessarily be opposed to that if it was worth it.
It depends. I mean, like for example, this other thing that we're doing now, I hate when people say stuff and then they can't talk about it, like say what it is, but I just want to get it done now. Like there's a conversation about like waiting to do it. I'm like, no, I think we should just do it now, because if we don't do it now, we'll never do it. And I feel like that's sometimes the case. But with the clothing company, I don't want to rush it and put it on sale and have it be like this girl, this random influencer girl who does YouTube videos put clothes on sale and they're terrible. Like I feel like it's really hard to start a clothing company that's good and successful, especially now because there's just so many. And
especially by yourself. Like everybody's using somebody at FanJoy who's already done all the work, or whatever other company.
Merch company.
Merch now.
So I'm willing to wait because we're doing everything properly. Like we, from the very beginning, have done everything properly instead of just like making clothes and putting them on sale, which you could do like buying from a wholesaler or something. Yeah. But I created everything and like it's all custom. You don't want to use Gildan blanks. No, we're not using blanks. It's all custom fabrics. Like I chose everything myself. So I'm excited. But yeah, I definitely had to wait a really long time. And like it took way longer than I thought, but I am not rushing it at this point because it's already been like a year and a half. I don't care if it takes another like 2 months.
Exactly. Yeah. That's kind of a contradictory trait that you have.
Mm-hmm.
You and Lauren love doing things by the book and doing it right.
Yeah.
However, you're very impatient. She is also kind of impatient, but she'll just give up if it takes too long.
Yeah. I think Lauren's more of a perfectionist than I am because I don't really care that much about, like, for example, she's talking about school. Like, I never really cared that much about school. Like, if I got an 85 instead of a 95, like, I'd obviously rather get the better mark. But if I got, like, a low 90, I was happy. Like, I don't need to get 100%.
She does.
Or, like, a high 90s. Like, she's trying to get the best mark possible. But I feel like I had other priorities. Like, I just didn't care that much because there was no reason why it had to be better. But, like, for the clothing company, I wanted to be really, really good because I don't want anyone to be like, oh, I have an issue with this. Like, the quality's not good or whatever it is. Like, this isn't original. You didn't do a good job with the photo shoot. Like, whatever.
I guess that's the difference between you two. She just does it just to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you knew that you wanted to go to Western or Queens or whatever. And so you just had to pass that threshold that she just wants to do it.
Right.
100%.
Yes.
Do you think you've changed in any significant way after being a business owner now and a young female entrepreneur?
I would say no, just because the clothes aren't on sale yet.
Right.
So I feel like I put a lot of work in with nothing to show for it, really. But I'm sure I will, like, once I'm dealing with people and dealing with customers and stuff.
Mm.
And also I have a product available. I think everything will pick up momentum from there. So yeah, I'm sure I will change after that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll have to do another podcast in a year or so.
All right.
All
I'll
right.
catch up with you in a year.
Okay. Oh my gosh, 50 minutes. Okay, well, that was the episode. I mean, not really 73 questions, but same concept. I don't know what we'll title this one, but thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out at Johnny Orlando on Instagram.
Yep. Do that. Check out
What else
Artless.
What else have you been doing, or what else do you want to plug?
My single "Everybody Wants You" just came out. That's pretty exciting.
Mhm.
We just went to radio in Canada, which is very
yeah.
exciting. I think we're finding out today if I'm gonna be selected for like all the upcoming star programs. So that's gonna be awesome.
Okay. Well, when this episode comes out, you'll know if he was selected, I guess.
If not, this is going to be really awkward, but it's okay. Hopefully I get selected. And, hopefully by the time this comes out, the EP's out, you guys are enjoying the music. There's one song specifically there's one song that you really like. And then there's one song specifically that I'm absolutely in love with. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. Do you have iOS 14?
Yeah.
Is it weird?
No. Okay.
Okay.
We'll talk about it after. Okay. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Have a good one.